I don't care what your goals are, what you want to achieve in this life. I know you are never supposed to be average. And deep down, your soul knows this as well. You always knew you wanted to stand out from the crowd because you're not like the rest of your average bummy mates. You have way more ambition and potential than them, but yet you don't have enough delusional self-belief that will help you take the violent, consistent action that will get you to where you want to be. Getting shredded is honestly one of the best ways to install this delusional self-belief back into yourself. You know, the one that you had as a child where you thought that anything was possible. The world was your oyster, but then society brainwashed you with all of these bullshit limiting beliefs. Well, getting ripped is honestly such a powerful way to unlock who you once were, not just because of the physical mutation that you see every single time you look in the mirror, but because of who you're becoming in the process, because of all of the habits and beliefs you need to shift in order to get there in the first place. And I want to tell you a very painful story about how I let myself go and everything else just fell apart around me. Let's go. I'm going to put you inside my computer and we'll get to chatting. Around this time last year, I began the process of getting the most peeled I've ever done in my entire life. Ripped beyond ripped. Below probably 6% body fat. Enough to step on stage for my first ever bodybuilding show, and no being humble, I genuinely felt like I had the best upper body conditioning out of my entire category. I didn't win. I didn't even place because I think the legs were dismal, to tell you the truth. Absolute cocktail sticks, and that definitely gave the game away. That wasn't enough to help me secure victory, but that's besides the point. I learned so much about myself and about the process while I was going through this journey, but even more importantly than that, I gained this sense of delusional self-belief that I've never had, where I felt like success was inevitable. There was no doubt in my mind that I couldn't just build a crazy business. That honestly felt like thinking small. At that time, I was genuinely convinced that I was going to change the world. Kept saying to myself, I'm going to heal the world. Just being in the process, being in momentum, seeing my physical flesh mutate in the mirror every single day was enough to constantly reinforce that I am the shit. And it helped. It definitely helped that everywhere I went, eyes were popping. People were staring at me. Everyone was giving me compliments. I was doing deliveries at that time, and a very common thing I heard was, "You look way too good to be doing deliveries." There was a time when I was parked up near someone's drive, and I was sorting out my packages, and the dude he came over to me because he wanted to know what I was doing near his property. He was a bit suspicious. And then the first thing he said when he looked at me was, "Oh, fucking hell. I wouldn't want to mess with you. Yeah, you're looking big, mate." And we got to talking. He was a very nice chap. He was telling me, "Yeah, you look way too good to be doing deliveries. You ever thought about being a personal trainer?" And I told him, "Well, yeah, that's exactly the plan. That's my goal. I'm going to finish this bodybuilding show, and then I'm going to move to Thailand and go all in on my online business and just become inevitable." During this phase of my life, I was excited every single day, waking up and just conquering. On a mission to master myself and spread the message, I felt like a complete anomaly. I was genuinely convinced that I wasn't just 1%, I was 0.1%, because who the fuck looked like me walking around? During this time, I was building the most momentum I've ever done in my life, where my YouTube channel was actually picking up steam, getting comments, people were engaging, and it looked like I was finally gonna just go to the moon, make it work for the first time in my life. There was no overthinking. I wasn't sitting down planning scripts, agonizing about, what should my ideas be. There was just execution with speed. I got an idea and I immediately acted upon it. I recorded it, and boom, it was a great time, to the point where
I got so much delusional self-belief that I bought myself a one-way ticket to Thailand, thinking that I was going to go and I didn't have to come back, because 3 months was all I needed to just go online full-time, build a business and live the dream. However, that didn't work, because here I am. So where did this all go wrong, and what patterns can I unravel and feed back to you so that you can learn from my mistakes and not have to experience them yourself? Well, the first night I got to Bangkok, I decided, yeah, I'm in Thailand, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to have an adventure. So I decided to, all my self-mastery out of the window, have some street meat soaked in some sugary seed oil garbage, where immediately I felt my frequency lower. But hey, I'm in Thailand. I need to explore an adventure and have fun and try the local cuisine. So I went out and about just to see what Bangkok was all about. And it's a pretty crazy place, very chaotic. There's literally dudes in the exact same business, stall to stall, right next to each other, and they're trying to compete for the attention with the exact same tactics. I don't personally know how any of them actually make a profit, but I ended up finding a weed shop, because they're everywhere, one that specifically had CBD flower in it, because I didn't want to get high. I just wanted to enjoy the sensation in my mouth and the taste and the ritual of rolling a joint, and just mellow out. And so I did. A part of me knew that this was falling off, that I shouldn't be doing this, because even though it is not real weed and I wouldn't actually get high, it was just an activity that lowers my frequency, and so naturally after this I wanted to enjoy myself even more. I went to a local restaurant, got a big plate of pad thai, prawns. It was delicious. It was soaked in sugar, soaked in MSG, seed oils, everything, the works. All of the beliefs that I stood firmly against in terms of diet. And then the next day, before I left on my bus to Chiang Mai, I went to the 7-Eleven, and I wasn't willing to wait and fast for the day and my bus journey. I wanted to quickly get something I could snack on, rather than putting in some effort, planning my day better, being more oriented with my time management skills, going out and finding some clean food. No, I decided to go to 7-Eleven and have some weird mutant sandwiches, the ingredients of which I couldn't even fucking read, and as well as that, also literal sweeties, like sugary, fruity candies, and a whole bunch of just chocolate biscuits, all of the junk that I stood so firmly against, that I know is terrible for me, that lowers my energy, my frequency, gives me crazy brain fog, doesn't make me fat immediately, but that's the danger, isn't it? Pretty soon afterwards, everything just unraveled. Slowly but surely, one step at a time. I came to Thailand as somebody in control. I was way more self-mastered than anyone else around me at the time, but very quickly I started to adapt to the culture. I didn't stand firm on my principles of discipline and continual self-improvement. It all began with the early morning wake-ups. I love to anchor myself with a 4 a.m. alarm. Whenever that happens, life just seems to click so much smoother and more effectively. It's so much easier to get into the disciplined flow state, because I'm already doing the uncomfortable thing and waking up at the butt crack of dawn. But I was on and off all the time. Some weeks I would have a 4:30 alarm. Other weeks I would have 5:30 alarm. Other weeks I would have no alarm, because I was experimenting with going to bed with an alarm and waking up whenever my body naturally woke me up. But even that didn't work, because I didn't have the discipline throughout the day to even hit that bedtime alarm. I became a bit of a degen, going out partying, chasing women, trying to live a fun, balanced life. I didn't actually drink a single drop of alcohol while I was there, but I really went hard on new vices, which were kratom, this green sludge that tastes really bitter, and it kind of feels like a mixture of caffeine and alcohol, where you just feel wavy and smooth and socially fluid, but you still have a bit of mental sharpness. You're not completely sloppy and drunk. But that's very fucking dangerous, because it's very easy to convince yourself that you can function on this, and so you start integrating it throughout your entire day instead of just once a weekend or 3 times a week or every single night if you're really going hard like a degenerate. But I began to indulge in way more tobacco, going shisha, smoking cheap, shitty cigars while feeling like a complete a fraud, somebody who wants to be a baller, enjoying the luxury of a fine Cuban in his mouth, but just not being able to afford that. I even started to indulge in these dirty cheroots, which is essentially peasant cigars. My diet was all over the place. I was trying to be locked in and disciplined most of the time, but it was the other 10%, 20% of the time that actually really bitch slapped me back into a low frequency, which is I would always go to these buffets where you could cook the meat yourself, and so I would tell myself, yeah, I'm being clean and high testosterone because I'm just cooking beef and eggs in boiling water. But then I would add a whole bunch of shit to it. I would have that greasy processed garbage in the buffet as well, because it was already there and I was already there, so why not, right? Oh, live a little, have fun, enjoy yourself. Every now and then I would end up going to 7-Eleven and getting this diabolical little chocolate, going to street stalls and having some more of that seed oil, sugary infused meat. All in all, just being incredibly inconsistent with all of my inputs, which obviously led to some very chaotic and inconsistent inputs with the work that I was actually supposed to do. I came there with a very clear purpose, with a mission to help motivate and inspire and get the coaching business up to a full-time income so that I could stay there. But I ended up just chasing pleasure and devolving into a bit of a degenerate mess. I'll go through these cycles of FOMO and then guilt, where when I was staying inside and locking in, I would always feel like I was missing out, like I needed to go out there and do some more fun touristy stuff and mix and network and all that shit. But when I was out doing all that stuff, there was this nagging guilt in the back of my mind that I should be working harder. I need to lock in more. Oh, I'm not doing enough. And one of the core tenets, one of the recumbent loops of the entire journey while I was out there that justified so much of this behavior, especially the buffets, the 7-Eleven, all of this garbage that I would stuff in my mouth and just emotionally eat and not have any kind of mastery when it came to what I put in my body, was the cope that I need to bulk anyway. Yeah, I've already got shredded, so now it's time to gain mass. I need to get to 100 kilos as soon as possible. And so it's fine. It's fine if I don't track anything. It's fine if I just live and eat and do what I want, because I know nutrition well. I know what foods to eat and when, and so if I just follow the principles, I'll be a little bit disciplined and I'll get where I need to go anyway. Fuck man, this excuse is the downfall of any ambitious man who wants to get into crazy shape and stay there and just constantly hold themselves at a high standard in order to prove to themselves and the world that they are different. They are that 0.1% anomaly. And so naturally, what ended up happening was I went a bit soft. I mean, mentally, I went very soft. My goodness, there was so many times where I held myself back from taking the amount of violent, relentless action that I could have, simply because I lost this delusional sense of self-belief. The doubt started creeping back in again. I started to just let myself go, and I know you're thinking, Matt, what the hell? You still have abs. There's still some chest striations. How? How can you see that this is letting yourself go? Well, my friend, we don't have the same standards, because I I really fell for this. I started to listening to mediocre people's shitty standards around me. People telling me, yeah, you're in great shape. Wow, you look so good. You have my dream physique. Oh yeah, why don't you live a balanced life? You know, have fun, enjoy yourself a little, live it up while you're young. There was this one guy in particular, a guy that I became friends with, who he was a very good dude, but he had a really shit low standard, especially when it came to lifting and bodybuilding and physiques, where he was on TRT, he'd done other roids in his past, but he genuinely told me that he thought I was like the peak natural physique that it's possible to achieve. That blew my mind. It made me laugh and also feel a little sad, because I'm not even close to the pinnacle of natural bodybuilding in terms of mass, in terms of leanness. Man, you can get to some crazy levels as long as you obviously don't compare yourself to these roidy bodybuilders with these fake natty dimwits. You can get to some crazy levels. As everything unraveled, I lost myself. I lost connection with the mission and the purpose that I came for. I became a confused little cuck where I'd always be frantically scurrying around trying to learn bits and pieces that would be the secret, the one thing I was looking for, the new hack, the tip or trick that would be the thing that unlocked the results I was looking for in terms of business, in terms of just feeling like myself again. And so I was absorbing knowledge from anyone and everyone, because I was operating out of desperation and scarcity. Like I really wanted to make this work. I had tasted the freedom of the tropical Thailand life, and I really didn't want to go back home to the UK. And so I was just acting out of like frantic chaos and scarcity, and I need. There was not a single abundant thought running through my mind. And everyone I spoke to, these digital nomads, they slowly began to poison me. One guy was giving me an idea, and another guy was giving me an idea, and all this confused chaos, I completely lost myself. And because I dropped my standards and my inputs, I didn't have the ability to just hear what they were saying and just ignore it and just back to the blueprint, back to executing on the tasks that I need to in the way that I know I need to do them. I was always chasing the next shiny opportunity. I initially began appointment setting for a fitness coach with a very large business, and that would have been a great opportunity. That, if I'd have stuck to it, that could have been what allowed me to actually stay in Thailand and not have to go home. But no, because I was so fragilized and confused, I was very easy to take advantage of, and so I joined appointment setting gigs that were absolutely garbage, diabolical, shitty offers, where basically I, number one, didn't know what I was doing, and number two, it was just basically impossible to make it work, because it's just the very nature of the work. Started studying NLP, thinking that, oh yeah, this is the key that would help unlock everything else. If I just learn this one superpower, then I'll be an amazing persuasive communicator and everything else will just fall into place. Then I did a Hail Mary in the last few weeks there. I went to the gym to be a personal trainer, get some clients, but again, everything I did was just operating out of desperation and scarcity. The human behind the work was unable to make the work work. I was buying courses, programs, I was joining people's mentorships, always looking for the new one thing that would help me unlock the secret to success. And everything I learned, I did not immediately implement aggressively without overthinking and just take violent, relentless action on it. No, I would just accumulate all this knowledge in my head that would fill it up, slow me down, and not help me move anywhere. And so what had to happen ended up happening. I ended up going back to the UK because I ran out of money and I needed to come back here, start working again, build my way back, and just grind my way to the position that would allow me to get back there and not have to scrounge around desperately. But here is the kicker. Here is the nail in the coffin. When I came back, I kept reinforcing myself with the idea that I need to bulk more, I need to gain more weight, I don't have enough mass, I just need to eat. It was UK winter, and naturally this makes it very easy to tell yourself, yeah, I need to bulk, it's winter anyway, it doesn't matter. That's what everyone else is doing, that's what all the other gym bros are doing, but again, I must insist, why the fuck would I get different results if I do the same that everyone else is doing? If I was just one of the masses, one of the normies, even if it was one of the gym normies, but I just felt like I started to look completely average. Now again, you might be saying, but Matt, no, you're not average. You're way more jacked than the man who's just walking the streets. But are your standards really that low? Are they down in the fucking gutter? I mean to say that I was looking like an average gym bro, not standing out at all, because I would aggressively stuff my face. Even though I was eating only clean whole foods, it was still coming from a very emotional place. I wasn't really purpose driven. I wasn't really that willing to sacrifice that much comfort for my goals, and so food became my source of joy in life. I would make this gigantic bowl of rice, coconut milk, banana, honey. Oh, it was delicious. But this bowl, it was the ultimate embodiment of just comfort food. I felt so good eating it. Then afterwards, it would just be a complete slump. I always saved it till the end of the day to eat, but friggin' hell, man. During this time, my content really started to suffer. In all honesty, it started to suffer even in Thailand, where there was no clear through line about who I actually was or what I stood for, but it just got worse and worse and worse the more I let myself go. It would be so hard for me to speak with conviction. I wouldn't have the energy to go through my day and just bang out consistent inputs. I would start to go through cycles of intense caffeine consumption and then cutting it out, resetting, feeling like shit, and then starting it up again. All of these inconsistent inputs created just an absolute shit show. I lost all the aura, the magnetic energy that I had before I left, and it genuinely felt like I had become a hollow, empty shell of myself. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Matt, did you just clickbait me? What has all of this got to do with staying ripped? You mentioned so many other vices and habits and mental shifts that have nothing to do with the physique, but that's exactly the point. once you start to let your standards slide in one area of life, they will fall in others, and then everything in it will unravel, and you'll end up just reverting to your old habits, because the goal of staying ripped will hold you accountable, keep you respecting yourself, and you always operate with a frame of making the choices that are sacrificing in the moment for yourself in the future, aka delayed gratification, which is honestly the best, most wholesome sense of internal fulfillment. This fiery energy of momentum where you might not be at your goals, but you're well on your way and you're just thoroughly in love with the process. When you hold yourself to a standard of being lean and mean, being stripped and ripped, and doing whatever is required to stand out from the crowd, be the opposite of average, you start to think differently, you start to move differently, you operate at a way higher level, because the reality is most men will never ever in their entire life get truly ripped. They might get down to 15% body fat once, slightly see their abs, and then just go back to a skinny fat mess. And even most gym bros who will never get ripped, even if they do get truly diced, they'll never be able to just sustain a low level of body fat year after year after year while making steady, slow, incremental gains without letting themselves go, getting soft and telling themselves, oh, I'm bulking, bro. So the whole thesis of this video is that if you want to be above average, you have to do the exact opposite of what the average does, and that includes the average gym bro. You want to be the extreme anomaly, the 0.1%, and to do that, you have to set a foundation. The physique is where it all begins. It's not the end. It's not even close. It's literally level 1. It's essential, but it's not sufficient. But when you do have the physique, that is the foundation that you can compound upon every single day. Install the right habits around that to take your self-development to a new level. But this is how I'm looking right now after a juicy pump, flexing in some good lighting. Obviously, this is how I look without any kind of pump, completely average, shitty lighting, you could say. And this is honestly a great place where I don't want to get any more fluffy than this. Even at the peak of my bulk, if we call it that, which I want to completely remove from your vocabulary. I don't want you to use the word bulk anymore. No, we're either in a phase of fat loss, shredding down, or in a phase of lean tissue gain, of making the muscles pop and bulge against the skin. That is that. I really hope that this video was helpful and that helped you unlock a new level of thinking, because at the end of the day, that is what will make the massive difference. I can give you the perfect training plan, all of the nutritional coaching you could ever need, the same that I do with the guys I work with, but if we don't dive really deep on the way of thinking and how you operate mentally, then none of these changes will ever last. You will never get the results you want. And that's exactly why I do what I do, and we focus so much on mindset. So if this resonated with you because you also don't want to be average, then there's going to be a link down below. I want you to click it, fill out a quick little form. It'll take no more than 60 seconds, and I'll be in contact to see if we're a good fit to work together, because I don't want to work with anyone. I don't want to work with mediocre men. No, I want you to have a mentality that wants more and is willing to do what it takes. Let's fucking go, bro. Hope you have an amazing day. You have work to do. Let's go do it.